What is up, everybody? Welcome to Smeezy MMA, and today we are breaking down the Contender series. We have been waiting all year for this. It's a glorious, glorious time of the year, and we have a pretty fun card. We have some good talent, and we have some really shitty fights. I won't hold back, but without further ado, let's not waste any time. Let's get into the first fight of the night between John Kunneman versus Joe Kropschot. All right, I'm going to be honest with you. I was trying to find a way to pick Joe Kropschot. I watched probably a little bit too much tape. I found reasons. I'm not picking him. But what I will say is I will probably place a bet on him because I think John Kunneman might open minus 300, minus 400. And when I look at his game and I look at these fucking meaty slobber knocker hooks this guy throws on the feet, it really does concern me. He has the better wrestling between the two. He has the better power between the two. He's the bigger gritty man between the two, so he probably should win this fight, right? He should be able to dictate whether this fight is on the feet or on the ground. But Joe Kropschot has very good jiu-jitsu. Very good is kind of a strong word. He is solid jiu-jitsu. If I haven't made it clear yet, I think both these guys are pretty shitty. I think John Kunneman is more UFC level, has more UFC potential, and Joe Kropschot has already lost to two guys in the UFC, and Cody Brundage and Orion Koski. Back in the day, and he also got knocked out by another gentleman and went on a 3-fight losing streak. Since then, he's won 4 straight fights. I actually thought he looked pretty good against Cody Brundage. All right, let me click on the Kropschot profile right here, man. It's Kropschot, not drop shot, for a reason. This guy doesn't have any like sexy power, anything sexy on the feet. He's got a good jab, rangy guy. He's got some good kicks, and I do think like a jab, a rangy guy that has good head movement should be able to beat a John Kunneman if he's defensively sound. And defensively sound on the ground. And John Kunneman, to a certain degree, is. But I have seen him clipped a lot of times. This recent fight against David Alsaghir. Not a bad pronunciation from the kid there. Come on, man. But circling back, this was a pretty good win. You know, he dropped Joe Kropschot in the first round. Joe Kropschot survived. The guy gassed out, and Joe Kropschot won that fight. Joe Kropschot might just take the shots from John Kunneman and end up surviving. But there was one fight that kind of swayed me towards the John Kunneman side. All right. And let me just go through this really quick because I had a point about Cody Brundage. Yeah, so he went on a 3-fight losing streak, as you can see here. Orion Koski, as you probably remember him in the UFC as someone that wasn't that good, could wrestle a little bit, had a little bit of power in his hands, some pressure, kind of similar to a Cody Brundage. And that's also pretty similar to whoever the fuck he's fighting on the Contender series. My brain is retarded right now. John Kunneman. A little bit different. Obviously, those guys already made the UFC, and if you want to argue they're better than John Kunneman, go for it. I'm not going to fucking hate on you for it. There's a reason why I almost picked Mr. Kropschot here, all right? Now, there's a reason why I didn't, and it's because he got clipped against Koski twice. He got clipped by Daniel Compton. I think Cody Brundage had a moment in the first round as well. These guys are landing takedowns on him, and while he does have a good submission game, and I do like the fact that he's been doing higher level jiu-jitsu tournaments, just jiu-jitsu tournaments in general, and he has a lot of submission wins on record. So like, let's say John Kunneman's taking this fight down to the ground. I think it's very live for a Joe Kropschot submission. Now, what I will tell you, I don't think he's that good. I don't think he's that precise. I don't think he's threatening enough to keep a guy like John Kunneman off of him. And while John Kunneman swings wild slobber knocker hooks on the feet, he does have some good power. He obviously is the better wrestler. And I think if he wants to find takedowns, he will. I think he'll keep this on the feet, and this will be kind of similar potentially to the fight where he lost, actually, but against Gabriel Freiherr. And if you want to go back and watch that fight, he did better than I kind of expected. He didn't gas out as bad as you kind of would think. He did gas out, though. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. If he doesn't find the finish in this first round, he probably loses the fight. So the pick is John Kunneman. Very, very low confidence by first round finish. And as you can see, he's just been running through all these opponents, but that's because these opponents are NPCs. They're just straight up NPCs. Yeah, man. But Gabriel Freiherr, go back and watch that fight. I think he wins that fight if it's Joe Kropschot, because Kropschot doesn't have as good of a chin as that Freiherr dude. I think Freiherr just had a good chin, had a decent ability to stuff takedowns, mitigate the grappling, and that was John Kunneman 7 years ago. So do with that information what you will. That alone was enough to make me want to pick John Kunneman because I think he's going to have just a fucking slobber knocker mentality. And then that's the kind of style that has been a problem for Joe Kropschot in the past. So yeah, let's get back to that view where you can see them side by side just so I can talk about the frame advantage. Joe Kropschot, obviously the bigger guy. He's going to have the better strikes from range, but I do think that Kunneman with the takedown threat, even though Kropschot has some crafty grappling of his own, I do think that John Kunneman will be able to pressure him. The takedown threat will work well for him, especially with the feet, with the power that he has on the feet. I think he's going to throw some slobber knocker hooks and beat Joe Kropschot with the round 1 TKO on the feet. If this goes to the ground, Joe Kropschot is no pushover on the ground. He could survive. He could find a submission in round 1. And also, if this fight extends, I think Kropschot probably has the better cardio, but I'm not sure 100% that John Kunneman is just going to gas out. So that was a long breakdown for that fight I told you was dog shit. So let's move on to Ananias Mulumba versus Tommy Pags, man. This is a cool fight. This is probably my favorite fight on this card. Let me double check. It's my favorite fight on the card. Yes, there's another favorite prospect I have on this card, but these are two guys that are probably UFC level. I like Ananias Mulumba. If you remember his fight against Marwan Rahiki, he clipped Marwan Rahiki 3 times pretty badly in that first round. Got clipped himself in that first round as well. And then the second round came around. He was gassed out and got fucking slimed out. Let's go to my Twitter here. I'm trying not to get a copyright. Ooh, we don't want sound. Anyways. But if you want to see this finish, I'll just kind of skim through right here. Jab, jab, boom, right hand. Sleeps him bad. This guy was out so bad, out so cold. Mulumba has devastating power. Wanted to show you guys that. I think we should survive in terms of copyright. But he's got great power, man. He's got some good grappling, right? He's a well-rounded guy, but he is 5'5". And Tom Pagliarulo, I don't know why we have this fucking gap between an ad and here. Fuck it. Sorry, guys. It's going to look like shit. But losing to Marwan Rahiki is not the worst loss. Rahiki's look good. Now, I will also argue that Marwan Rahiki is extremely hittable, and I almost picked Ananias Mulumba in that matchup, and I actually bet Ananias Mulumba by KO, and that didn't cash. I think the only reason why they didn't cash is because I had money on it, but it was a good bet regardless, and Marwan Rahiki is a good prospect, all right? Marwan Rahiki is a guy that looks like he's going to have a lot of success in the UFC, but he's been hittable, and I think that fight was kind of what corrected Marwan Rahiki a little bit in the UFC. And those flaws from Marwan Rahiki are definitely still there. So anyways, I'm not trying to discredit the performance from Ananias Mulumba because I do think he definitely can find the big shots on the feet against Tom Pagliarulo, Tommy Pags. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure Tommy Pags is the guy that is just going to snipe Ananias Mulumba, but that's how I'm going to predict this fight. He's a long, rangy guy. And it's just when I would break down this fight on paper, I found myself thinking the Tom Pagliarulo side makes the most sense. You know, and Ananias Mulumba, even when he had a lot of success against Marwan Rahiki, got clipped at times. Tom Pagliarulo is a bigger opponent. He is just weirdly fast for his size. He's got great straight punches. We've seen Ananias Mulumba clipped by a straight punch against a guy with the below 500 record, and Amir Al-Shanshori, all right, this Egyptian guy who's 10-12, and he's fighting in bum promotions. So do with that information what you will. I know it's kind of annoying just to look at certain shots that are getting through, but I've been having a bad track record lately. When predicting fights, I can call the exact shot that would get through, would KO someone, and then I think, okay, well, he's probably smart enough to game plan around this, and then they just get clipped by it. So for that reason, I'm going with Tommy Pags. He's quick. He's got a good kicking game. He's got a good teep, got a good low kick. All these things are flaws in the game of Ananias Mulumba. He seems to like to establish that jab early. He's pretty quick in, pretty quick out, has decent head movement, but sometimes when he's crashing in with those 1-2s, that chin kind of raises up a little bit, and that overhand right from Mulumba can't connect and can't crack him. So I'm having a very low confidence pick on this fight. The reason why I said this fight is so fun, not only will it probably be a certified hood classic, and not only will we probably see it finish in the first 2 rounds, but it's the most competitive one to predict outside of one other fight. And I'm not a big fan of that other fight, I'll tell you that much. But these two guys, to me, are UFC level. Tom Pagliarulo, something else you want to note, is that he trained at the New England Cartel with Rob Font, Calvin Kattar, all those guys. And now he trains with Corey Sandhagen. So you know he's going to be bringing out the beakers and test tubes headed into this fight. And I actually watched an interview with Tom Pagliarulo, and what I picked up from that is this guy has a wrestling background. He's been wrestling since he was a kid. And I wasn't able to watch too much tape on him, right? But what I saw when I saw his tape was a good kicking game, was a good ability to establish a jab from range. Not perfect, because he does get clipped at times, but he hasn't been clipped clean. He hasn't really been rocked from what I know. He's been submitted once, but something that is positive to see from that was that it was by an armbar, which means he was on top, so that means he probably was having some wrestling control, you know? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. If someone watched that fight, please let me know where I can watch it. Please let me know what you thought and how that kind of impacts your prediction in this fight. I didn't get to see this Nathan Garib fight. I didn't see it. Nathan Garib seems like a solid opponent. Seems like a guy that has some good power. Shit. And then Ananias Mulumba has power. Maybe he just gets it done. Ultimately, what it comes down to is while the Marwan Rahiki performance was very good, while this KO against Ahmed Fares was really good, I still see moments against Amir Al-Shanshori. I see moments against other opponents too, where like kind of the way he comes into the pocket, the way he comes into throwing these big power shots, it's a little bit concerning to me. And I see many moments where it feels like he will get clipped. Being at probably a pretty big reach disadvantage and being shorter by 7 inches. How the fuck are you at the 145-pound division, 6 foot tall, with great power? That just seems like something I have to predict to win by a first-round KO. Even though I'm a fan of Ananias Mulumba, I would not be mad if he won. Just Tommy Pags, he's a quick guy. So, like I said, limited tape on him, so not a super confident pick. But if he opens as an underdog, I would not mind taking a stab. Is there anything else I want to mention? Because to me, this is the prediction main event. I don't think so. I think that's all that I really wanted to mention. Yeah, I mean, sometimes Tommy Pags, it does look like his range management isn't the greatest, or like he fights a little bit shorter than he kind of should. So that is a red flag. But like I said, I've seen opponents have success with the kicking game against Mulumba. Mulumba being the shorter opponent. And even though he has a takedown threat, I didn't mention his grappling at all. Okay, that's what I'm going to bring up, and then we're going to move on. Even though he has the takedown threat, his takedown entries don't look bad. I will just say he's submitting guys that just look horrible, and he's finding all these rear naked chokes, open palm. And that's a little bit of a red flag to me because a higher level grappler is able to deal with open palm a little bit better. More times than not, you're going to have to go behind his head and finish that choke, really get a good squeeze. The open palm choke, a decent beat of people have been able to, not a decent amount of people, but you've seen a lot throughout, probably throughout MMA. You're watching a lot of times where people are able to separate the grip and not get finished. Open palm's always just a little bit of a red flag for me. And then these opponents are tapping really quick. They're not really fighting the choke. That's essentially what I was trying to get out of it. So I don't think he's fought the greatest levels of competition. I don't think it's been the worst. I do think he could maybe find takedowns here, but I'm going to trust the fact that Tom Pagliarulo training with Corey Sandhagen, probably bringing out the beakers and test tubes. And I've heard him in his interviews just sound smart. He's like, hey, this guy's short. I think I got the straight punches down the pipe here. I have a wrestling base as well. I've been wrestling since a kid. So for those reasons, I'm picking Tommy Pags. Not super confident. Round 1 KO. This was a very hard fight to pick for me. So Bilal Hasan, man, let's move on to this fight. Really excited about this one. Maybe not so much the fight, but I'm excited about this one. This gentleman on screen. I'm a big Bilal Hasan fan. He's been on my radar for quite some time now. And this is one of my favorite prospects on the Contender series this season, from the guys I know on the Contender series at least, all right? You watch tape on this guy, he's fun to watch. He's got good power, switch stance, good kicks, Muay Thai. I think it was a karate background as well, and some other background. This guy seems pretty well-rounded, seems like he's able to stuff the takedowns. And Mridul Saikia, sorry if I said it wrong, brother. Very sorry, sir, very sorry. He's from India. I feel bad for India MMA because they don't have success. These guys just lose fights. They get KO'd. They get slimed out. And that shit is going to happen here. Bilal Hasan mixes up to the head and body very well. He's got great low kicks, great switch stances, great head kicks. You think he's got a great mentality. He's a pretty likable dude. He says a bunch of wild, stupid shit, but very, very nice dude. I was looking up his name, just looking up like any interviews I could get for him. And he was like doing interviews with MMA YouTube channels with, barely any more subscribers than this channel. I got like 7 subscribers right now. Like it up, comment, subscribe, please. But there was guys with like 30 subscribers, and Bilal's doing MMA content with them. And you just love to see that he's being super nice to them, super humble guy, it seems like. Obviously, he's going to be a little bit cocky, and he plays himself up on the mic. But I think this guy could be one of these stars of the flyweight division. I'm buying stock in this kid. He's 25 years old. He has a lot of great tools. Indonesia. His name is the Indo Ninja. I like Bilal Hasan. He's just a lot of fun to watch. He's got great power. I love the body work. He seems comfortable. He seems confident. We'll see how his takedown defense kind of works out. But Mridul, whatever the fuck his name is, Mridul Saikia, the cashier, to me, he's going to get clipped. He's going to get KO'd in the first round. I feel pretty confident about it. I love Bilal, as I said. Great prospect to look out for. Am I saying he'll become a future champion? No. Am I saying that's a possibility? Absolutely. Another great prospect for the loaded flyweight division. Let's move on to the next fight of the card between Abe Alsaghir versus Fabrizio Escarrega, man. And I know a lot of people are going to be picking Abe Alsaghir. And actually, when you go down here, only 57% of people are. But I think by the time this fight comes around, you're going to see a lot of people picking Abe Alsaghir. I just don't like this guy. I really don't. I'm not a huge fan of him. Could he win this fight? Yeah. This is not the kind of guy I want to see on the Contender series. I understand he has big power. I just don't like his style, dude. I don't think he deserves this opportunity. I think he's been fighting absolute goys, along with Fabrizio as well. But he's been fighting just horrible fighters. Juan Porto, I don't know how this guy has a winning record. This guy sucks. Horrible. Probably because he's fighting in the same promotion that Abe Alsaghir is fighting in. You know what I mean? Actually, that was good to look at. Juan Porto, the best win of Abe's career, has now lost 4 fights in a row. So that tells you kind of where he's at with his career. I'm not just going to hate on Abe Alsaghir. Let's break down this fight. He will try to get the takedowns. He does have some powerful hands. I don't love his striking, but on the feet, he's got a powerful overhand right. He will kind of throw in powerful blitzes at times, but it's not like a wild blitz. It's kind of like a blitzing combination where he's trying not to get some respect, whatever it is. If it lands, it lands. He doesn't really seem to take that many risks on the feet. That's what I've noticed. Some people think differently. But like I said, I do like the kicking game. But from range, at times it just seems like this guy is lackluster. And I feel like he does have the tools to be good. I don't see a good jab from him. He's a shorter opponent. I don't love his head movement. I don't think he's really faced anyone that good, as I said. And I don't think Fabrizio Escarrega really has either. But I think Abe has to find the takedowns in this matchup. And even when he finds the takedowns, it's not like he's got the sexiest submission game I've ever seen. It's not horrible, but he's almost at times more of a position over submission, and then he lets the submission kind of come naturally. He'll try to find some ground and pound, but he's not really pushing for the finish, which is why I don't really like him on this fight. So I'm picking against him. It's probably a little bit of a hate pick. I think he's low level, and I think he's like one of these guys that looks like pretty technical, but on the feet, it's like, okay, he throws a body kick. Cool. It looked good. All right, he throws a good leg kick. Cool, it looks good. He's not like putting the tools together very well. I guess that's the way to put it. If this guy, he was putting out a nice little jab, it's connecting on his opponents, and then he's looking for the overhand right. It's like good, but it feels like he's just like sitting there at range, tactically calculating something, but he's not even setting up a shot. You know what I mean? Like, certain guys are like managing the range, setting up feints. They're going to fucking bang, ba 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 bang. Doesn't feel like that's Abe Alsaghir. And he has the physical tools to be good. It seems like he's got pretty decent cardio. Obviously, he shoots a lot of takedowns. Like I said, I'm probably hating a little bit too much, but it's just like the level of competition he's facing. This is what I want to get out of it. With the level of competition he's facing and how much better he is on the feet, even with his striking, with his ability to knock people out, it feels like he just doesn't care to finish them. It feels like he doesn't care to show people why he's the best. Now, he has done it because he's faced fucking retarded competition. But if you watch a tape, I just haven't been super overly impressed. Now, with that being said, he has good takedowns. He's the more well-rounded guy. He can find a sub here. He can find a KO. But he is a smaller guy. And when it comes down to it, I'm picking Fabrizio Escarrega because it looks like this guy just likes combat more. This guy got into the sport because he thinks trading in the pocket is fucking sick. He likes the highlight tape. I think he sucks too. I think neither of these guys are UFC level. But this guy does have good volume. He rips to the body well. Well is a fucking strong word. He throws a lot of volume. He will throw in the pocket, kind of like a Vlasto Chepo, where he's a slobber knocker on the feet. He uses grappling to his advantage sometimes, but this guy has fought absolute squids as well. Why the fuck is this on my beautiful Dana White's Contender Series card? I know they've always had some bum fights. It just pisses me off. You know what I mean? Like, I saw Tom Pags versus Ananias Mulumba earlier in the fucking card, earlier in the week, sorry. It was the first fight on the card. I'm like, holy shit, this is the opener. We're about to get a fucking stack return. UFC's loading up. And then you get to the top here. You're like, ugh. I don't think either of these could have success in the UFC, but I'm going to pick the... Fuck, I can't talk. Fuck! I'm going to pick the taller guy that's 6'1", has good volume, seemingly has some good power. I've seen him stuff some takedowns on the regional scene against some absolute cans, but that's something to kind of look at. And I just think Abe Alsaghir, although he has the power, although he could snipe the hittable Fabrizio Escarrega, and although he could land takedowns and just win this fight, I think his technical fucking maestro looks, optics on the feet aren't going to work out from here. I think Fabrizio is going to get in his face. I think he's going to throw, and I don't think Abe Alsaghir really wants that type of a fight. So I think Fabrizio Escarrega is going to be my pick. I'm going to say a round 2 KO. Abe might find a takedown. And honestly, if he finds one takedown in the first round, Fabrizio might just slow down and get fucked, to be frank with you. So I think both of them suck. This is more of kind of a hatred pick. I had a hard time picking this just because I didn't find a whole lot of tape on Fabrizio. There was a fight that he lost that I couldn't find the tape on, I want to say. What fight was it? It was this fight against Aranya, which it was a loss by injury. So there you go. But even then, it's just like he has these moments where I'm like, okay, like you look like you can get this one done. And then he has his moments where he looks like shit. And it's the same thing for Abe Alsaghir. So anyways, I've been vocal about this fight. I think I've seen Fabrizio utilize takedowns offensively to find submissions. That showcases some level of grappling. What I hate, though, this guy, I'm pretty sure he owns his own gym. That might be stupid. But it might be him or it's another fighter on this card that fights out of their own gym. I could be wrong. I hope I am wrong. But anyways, Fabrizio Escarrega, he's kind of a slobber knocker on the feet. He will throw a lot of volume, but I do like that he throws to the body. And I think stylistically against a shorter opponent, Abe Alsaghir, being the rangier guy, just having the volume, being a slobber knocker, I think if he's stuffing the takedowns, which should naturally be in your game plan as a fighter that's fighting on a UFC sanctioned event, he should be able to find a TKO. Now, that's a very low confidence pick. I understand Abe Alsaghir is more well-rounded, as I've said a million times now. And I did hate on Abe a little bit, too much probably, but he's got good power. I'm just not a guy that I really want to see on the Dana White's Contender Series because the way I see it is once he starts facing higher level of competition that's more dangerous, this guy's not going to be taking the path of most resistance. He's not going to be looking for the KO. He's not going to be, trading. And it doesn't even look like he likes to trade in risky spots. It seems like he's very risk averse a decent bit of the time. That's probably a little bit of a hate, but everyone's looking at this fight and they're saying, oh, he beat an experienced veteran. Watch this fight. Drew Fickett is horrible. He's bad. He looks horrible. So I don't really hate his takedown entries, but I don't love them. He got clipped against Jerome Featherstone, right? This is a fight to look at. Still got that one done, so maybe he's just tough, but I do think that someone that's going to throw volume, be bigger than him, get in his face. I think we'll potentially have a moment unless Fabrizio just sucks, which he probably does, but I think Abe does as well. So long fight, breakdown for that one. Sorry about that. We'll run through the main. Fuck, bud. Come on, man. Go watch my full card prediction and breakdown for Gamrot versus Saul Killed. All right, man. I got to get this one out fast. We're going to do a quicker breakdown for this one so that you guys will actually watch it too. Anthony Wint, former Division I linebacker. All right. Matt Adams. Fat ass. Yeah, he's fat. When I watch the tape, Matt Adams has like pretty decent boxing. He's done some boxing events. He seems to have some pretty decent power. You go here, I want to say he's won a few times by KO. Most of the time he wins by KO. So he could get this one done. Anthony Wint he does look very green. I will not be betting him. Matt Adams has a wrestling base. And his one loss here was to someone they call the Islam Makhachev of the heavyweight division. Now, that's not the case, but the guy still is good. That's not the worst loss on resume to have. So we have Tubby Tubster versus Anthony Wint, Division I linebacker, who's been getting a lot of KOs, a lot of submissions, has some good wrestling on his own. I think this fight stays on the feet, and I think Wint finds a TKO on the feet or on the ground, potentially. But he's very green. Don't lay big minus money on him. I promise you guys, he's not this beautiful, beautiful striker. He will make mistakes. But it is the heavyweight division. When you see Division I level athleticism from a linebacker, that's something you probably want to pick. So Anthony Wint is the pick, round 1 KO. I think Matt Adams, at moments, I saw him have some sneaky craftsman technical skills, but it's no beakers and test tubes like a Corey Sandhagen out here. So Anthony Wint is the pick, round 1 KO. A little bit green, like I said. Matt Adams might be the more technical fighter on the feet, but Anthony Wint, he just has that explosive ability, and he has a wrestling base as well, and a few submission wins. So, yeah, go for that. He's also a YN. Not even trying to be racist. He just crashes out, it seems like. They're fuck. Should have ended the video. Against Jamal Tatum, I want to say. He knocked the guy out, and like he wanted to keep fighting. He wanted to keep punching the dude, and the ref was trying to separate the fight, and he's getting all pissed at the ref, almost fighting the ref. And then he made sure to have his celebration where he slashed off his head with a fake virtual sword, whatever you want to call it. But anyways, he does seem like a little bit of a dog. He was a linebacker at FIU, Division I. I don't know if he made the NFL. I don't think he did, but he's got good high-level athleticism. That's something I'm willing to bet on. and Matt Adams has been finished twice. So, yeah, I don't like that look for him. We're going Anthony Wint, not super confidently. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. My next video will probably be the full card predictions for UFC 330. I'm going to be gone for some time because I'll be on vacation with the fam. So wish me luck. I will probably tweet a little bit more on Twitter too. There's a chance I fuck me, bud. I switched some of my picks. So in that chance, make sure to follow me, Smeezy MMA, right here. I'm going to be talking about it. We're going to be talking about the Contender Series, my fights, my bets this weekend. Follow me on Twitter. I will be talking about these cards in the next week or so. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and have a good one, man.